All right. If I look a little bit red, it's because it's 20 odd degrees out. The air conditioning doesn't turn on until next month, and I am Canadian and I'm dying from the heat. I am not used to this. I'm not from this province. All right. So this month, I read 3 books that have a similar vibe in the titles. Essentially, a family member who is a murderer. So we have Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, My Sister the Serial Killer, and How to Kill Your Family. I adored 2 of these books so very much. The third one completely wasted my time. I mean, I have never had a book waste my time so much. It was a good 2 to 300 pages, too long. Okay. First impressions of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and then I'm going to tell you what my overall thoughts were. All right, bear with me as I try to figure out this camera. I can either get the image half decent with like pre-settings, but then I can't use the manual options for the sound to hook up my external mic, so I'm not a big fan of the sound, but I'll figure it out eventually. I have started Everyone in My Family Has Killed Somebody, and I'm loving it so far. I'm about halfway through. Essentially, this book is about a true crime author. He's an author who writes books about how to write books. And he is part of a notorious family who's known to the police for always being involved in some kind of crime. And he witnessed his brother kill somebody. There was like a hit and run that led to murder, and he turned him over to the police. So obviously his family is not a big fan of his right now, as his brother is now getting out of jail. The author, main character, author of this novel, is estranged from the family and wants to get back in their good graces. So he's joining for a family reunion in this mountainside ski lodge thing. They're all getting together. And then a body shows up. So, of course, his brother, who's just out of jail, is the #1 suspect, and he is trying to prove his brother's innocence. He's also discussing and telling us, the reader, about everyone else in his family and how they killed somebody or resulted in someone dying. And he is trying to figure out the identity of this body that has just showed up and who killed them. And what I love, because this seems like a very standard story, it has a unique twist. I say unique. I've never read anything like it so far. That he takes breaks to speak directly to the reader, as if to say, like, hey, my editor told me to include this. Oh, keep in mind, I didn't know this information, but it's more pertinent to the story and it's easier to understand if I say it here, kind of thing. And he is trying to be the most reliable narrator, so you definitely not a non-reliable narrator, to properly explain the story, and he's not trying to trip you up. So he will come out and say, oh, you're probably thinking this is happening. Don't. That's not what's happening. Hey, I didn't spend 80 words describing this thing for it not to be important, so pay attention. In the prologue, he says, I'm going to tell you when every single character dies. These are the page numbers that they happen on, and then lists those page numbers. And then throughout the story, as those page numbers are coming up, it's like, oh, if you're paying attention to the chapters and the page numbers, you're going to expect to see somebody die here. Then I'm like, okay, cool. So he's definitely telling you what to pay attention to. On page, what page number was it? It was very early in the book. 105, chapter 14 and a half. What he does is a summary of everything that's happened so far. Hey, just as a reminder, readers, this is the setting, this is the cast of characters, this is why they hate me, this is the beef they have with each other, and this is what we know so far. As if, like, you weren't paying attention, well, here's a little recap. And I love it. I absolutely love this kind of premise. It's not annoying me. I expected it to annoy me, but it's not. I sort of like the characters. I'm not overly invested. There's nothing that really making them stand out. But the setting, the plot, and just the writing style, breaking the third wall in a way that I'm enjoying, I really like this book so far. Easy 5 stars. Such an easy 5 stars. I adored this book so very much. I have never read anything like this. I have never had an author spell out exactly what I need to pay attention to, not try to trick me, not intentionally introduce any red herrings, and let me like go down a completely wrong path. He guided me to the answer the entire time and still make it enjoyable and surprising and just a completely wild ride with a little bit over the top twist near the end. And I adored it.
On top of that, I have been a true crime fan and I've read a bunch of horror books and thriller books, and I've watched Investigation Discovery and other murder channels on TV all of my life, pretty much from as little as I can remember. I have loved horror and thriller. The killer in this book uses a method that I have genuinely never heard of before. It is cruel, it is brutal, it is torturous. That's another thing. This book is mostly humorous, but when it goes like dark violent, like there's some scenes in there that I'm like, that's a different tone. Yeah, the method that the killer uses, never heard of it before, never read anything like it before, and I adore it. If I were to write a book, I'd want to email or write this author and be like, can I steal this method of murder or of torture? Because it was perfect, and I loved it. I love this book. This so much. I got nothing else to say. I'll give some little criticisms. Characters were fine. There was nothing standing out about them. They were fine. They did their job. They didn't annoy me, but they weren't that memorable. That's all I got. It's my only complaint. There's going to be another book in this kind of series. I will be reading it. 5 stars. 5 stars.
All right. The next book I've started is My Sister the Serial Killer. The premise is exactly as it sounds. Essentially, this woman is called to her sister's boyfriend's apartment in the middle of the night because her sister has just killed her boyfriend. And this is not the first boyfriend that she's killed and not the first body that the sister has helped got rid of. The younger sister claims it was self-defense, same with all her previous boyfriends that she's murdered. And the older sister is perfectly fine with believing that, but now that the younger sister has started to show interest in the guy that the older sister likes, who happens to be a doctor at the hospital she works at, the cat's going to attack the camera. Hi. Yeah, going after the guy that older sister likes, so she's starting to question her sister, and that's kind of what's getting me. She's just very jealous of her sister. She's jealous of her sister's looks. She's jealous of her sister's personality. She's jealous of everything about her sister and how everyone treats her. And that's why she's starting to want to turn on her sister. Only slightly, though. She doesn't even really want to turn on her sister at all yet. I assume she will, but I don't know. I'm honestly starting to think that it's actually the older sister that's the serial killer, and the younger sister's the one covering up for her, and this is all some kind of psychotic break. Yes, the cat is attacking the camera, so I'm gonna go.
All right, this one was a little bit harder to rate. It was a 3-star for the majority of the time, and then the ending happened, and I'm just like, I gotta give you a 4-star at least, so like 4.5. It really dragged in the middle, which is why I almost gave it a 3, but essentially, this is neither horror nor thriller. It really feels like a suspenseful family drama, very much heavy on the drama. The older sister knows the younger sister is a serial killer. She has to decide, do she tell the new love interest that the sister is dating, who's also the one that she's in love with, or do she stay loyal to her sister? And the complicated family dynamics, the protectiveness she has towards her little sister, the responsibility she feels to protect her, and the jealousy and resentment that she also has towards her sister. It is messy, it is well done, and it was so well done. It was a very great read. I will recommend it for that alone. It's just that the middle, you're stuck in this uncomfortable situation, this messy situation. You don't know what she's going to do. You don't know what the right response is. The police are all corrupt, so like, what would they even do if you did turn her in? You don't know who's going to get caught, so I like all that. And it had very short chapters, so they did go through very quickly. It was just really slow in the middle, and I didn't really like that. I've also heard people say that, or some reviews say that this was like a dark, satirical kind of humor kind of thing. That didn't really come across to me. Everything really felt just very straight. I didn't get much humor in it at all, but that's just me. And like I said, 3-star for the majority of the book. And then the ending, I just loved how messy everything got and the complicated family dynamics. So I enjoyed this one for sure.
All right, I am mostly cleaning the apartment today, listening to the audiobook of How to Kill Your Family, and it's a terrible time. I am not enjoying this book. The main character is beyond cringy, not like other girls trope to the extreme. God forbid anyone enjoy makeup and iced coffee or gets a lip filler. Like, I don't even know how to explain how much this character thinks she's better than everybody else. It's driving me up the wall. Granted, her family are the typical, stereotypical rich snobs who she wants killed for kind of possibly valid reasons. I haven't gotten that far. Not enjoying this, not enjoying the writing, not enjoying the characters, not enjoying the plot, but whatever.
Such a waste of time. I wasted days of my life reading this book. It was, pointless. Absolutely pointless. Okay, the most unlikable characters I have ever had the displeasure of reading from. I hated this main character. The not like other girls trope was played up heavy. She hates everybody. Old people, young people, rich people, poor people, social media influencers, people trying to save the environment. I think we get a crack on polyamorous relationships at one point in time. Literally, she just hates everybody. She has no character other than, woe is me, I'm better, I deserve more than you, or I would be better in your situation. If I had all your wealth and power, I would be a good person. I would do well with it. You're not, you're bad. That's her entire character. So she's picking off family members for, granted, rightful reasons, for revenge. And I would argue that the family members more or less deserve it. However, they deserve it because they're written as flat, one-dimensional characters that you're meant to hate. They have no redeeming qualities, and that is just boring. And then you have a subplot where she is in prison for a murder she did not commit. And I want to say it was the most plot-contrived reason for the story to exist, and the worst aspect, until the ending happened and made it 1,000 times worse. That ending insulted me. Like, I feel that ending made everything that I read before it completely pointless, and I already hated everything that I read before it. So the fact that you're just going to be like, and it was all for nothing, essentially, I hated this book. I picked this up because of the title, because I was doing this video and I wanted 3 books with like a killer family member in it. And it had very good reviews by many, 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 many people. I think there's like 70,000 ratings on this book, and they're all relatively good. I'm convinced that Scrib uploads different copies of books for me, and I'm reading the wrong version. That was all way too harsh. So a compliment to it. I almost didn't hate the main character right before the ending chapters happened. I almost didn't hate her. They made me go from despising her to not despising her. And then the ending happened, and I'm like, what was the point of this? That's all I got. That's it. All right, those are the 3 books I read with that kind of trope topic to it. I have 2 books that I absolutely adored, and I will definitely be reading from these authors again, and one that I will not be. It was not to my personal taste, my very subjective personal taste. Other people loved it. I'm sure there are reasons people loved it. All right, that is all I got. I will talk to you later.